I wanted my blog, even though I'm sharing it on social media, I wanted it to circulate off of social media. And I
Yeah.
knew Pinterest was one of the big ways that I could make that happen.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. We were just catching up about life things, and because in your business, you have so many incredible things that you are doing. Before we jump in, can you please share what you do and sort of what you're doing in the online world,
Yeah.
Kara?
I'm Kara Jamison, and my business is called Blooming Joy Flower Company. I am a cut flower grower and an educator. And I love to grow cut flowers, make bouquets, but I also really love to teach others how to grow their own simple cut flower garden to bring
Mhm.
them joy. So I do a whole lot of online teaching,
Yeah.
and I love everything about cut flowers.
Well, and what I notice is like clearly you have a way of sharing that information in the world where your community has just been growing and growing. You have a very large, thriving community on Instagram. In a previous conversation, we were talking sort of about your content creation and in terms of goals, like what you have in mind for your business. But you were creating content for Instagram. It was going really, really well. You're clearly incredibly skilled and knowledgeable because of your experience in more large scale growing flowers, but then also being able to teach regular people like me. You have incredible content that's very easy and fun to watch. We've all fallen in love with your farm. When did you start to get interested in Pinterest? So, as a content creator and somebody who's educating online,
Mhm.
when did you sort of think like, what's this Pinterest thing, and should I be using it? Tell me all
Right.
the things.
Yeah. So I got Pinterest for my business and my username several years ago. And I would
Hmm.
randomly pin on there, but I didn't know what I was doing at all. But
Yeah.
this year, I decided I wanted my own blog on my website. Because I talk to people literally around the world about growing cut flowers, and I really wanted to have all my knowledge on a space that I owned. Because we all know we don't own our social media at all, and I just really wanted to put what I was learning and all the photos I was taking on a blog on my website where people could read about cut flower growing. And so I started that blog in March of this year.
Wow, just this year of
Just
March
this
you
year.
started it.
Yeah, even though
I love
I've
that.
been online creating content for 7 years, I have thriving Instagram platforms, TikTok, Facebook has grown by like 30,000 followers in the last like couple months. It's crazy. I wanted people to go to my website because I own it,
Sure.
because our social media
Yeah.
can be taken away at any time. And my goal is to reach other people about growing cut flowers.
I love that. One thing I think about for someone like you, like you're clearly very talented at content creation. You have a way of sharing your unique point of view and teaching us things. Something that came up before was sort of like, well, what about that great content that you created last year? If you've been creating educational content or inspiring content
Mhm,
for 7 years, like there's probably stuff that you made 5 years ago.
mhm.
Mind you, probably your editing was different, but it's like good
Uh-huh.
information. So there was no way, like, unless somebody scrolled back really
Uh-huh.
far in your pages that they could find that incredible
Yeah.
tutorial or incredible, like, you give so many different tips. I was joking once when we were chatting that like I even watched like what you make for dinner.
Yeah.
Like, I love the flowers, I love the garden, I love all those things, but I'm also like, ooh, what's she grabbing from the garden and
Yes,
making
I
for dinner
love
tonight?
to talk about what I'm cooking for
Yeah.
dinner too.
Yeah.
And often I grow a lot of the vegetables in our garden as well. And so I've started talking more about vegetables recently. My husband and I, we first started growing gardens. My oldest is 16 now. I wanted to make his own baby
Yeah.
food. My husband wanted to grow the garden, and I didn't have a whole lot to do with that then. I wanted to take what he grew and make the baby food. And that's
Oh,
what
I
I
love it.
did, for a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't until really that my mom passed away in 2015, and her name was Joy, that I had,
Oh,
yes,
wait, that's where that comes
that's
from.
where Blooming Joy Flower Co. comes from because my mom's
Oh my
name was
God.
Joy. Yeah.
I care. I didn't realize that.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. And I'm so sorry that you lost your mom, but what a beautiful way to carry on her legacy, right?
Yeah. Yes. So I lost her Christmas Eve of 2015, and it was shortly after that. I had the seed planted in my heart to learn how to grow cut flowers to
Mm.
bring others joy. And so I started my journey in 2018 with learning how to grow cut flowers, really not knowing anything. I have had the experience of watching vegetable gardens grow over the
Hmm.
years and sunflowers because my husband did a lot of that. I just was behind the scenes taking the photos and the videos. I was doing that then, like without social media. When my husband was growing it, I just loved to document.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I started learning how to grow cut flowers in 2018, and something told me, share your journey online. And so I stuck
Yeah.
my phone in my face and just started talking. And,
Yeah.
at that point, not many people were listening, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But I would wake up every day with my coffee, and I would go out to my garden and show how much the
Love it.
zinnias had grown. I would talk about, oh, I'm supposed to pinch the zinnia, like cut half of it off. I don't want to, but people say that I need
Yeah.
to. And I would just talk about that online. Oh,
But can I just say, like, talk about inspiring, because I think so many of us who, even if you have a lot of knowledge about a particular topic or grew up with someone, say, like your mom or family members or friends,
mhm.
and you kind of know enough, I feel like it's really brave to take that leap and be like, I'm going to start documenting. And the things that run through your head, like, yeah, I have to say, I grow zinnias, and I'm always like, oh, I don't want to
Yeah.
do it. I know this is, or like, I whacked back my raspberry bush
Uh-huh.
because that's what I read that I should do online.
Uh-huh.
And I was terrified.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, am I wrecking it?
Right.
I think that that point of view, though, is why we have fallen so in love with your content, right? Is that you share all the sides of it and what's going through our
Yeah.
heads. So when Pinterest, like you got your Pinterest account, but you were sort of showing up sporadically,
Mhm.
when did you decide you wanted help with Pinterest? Like, so you were kind of interested in Pinterest, especially once you launched your blog.
Yes.
I'm curious to know sort of about the connection there or what was going through your head.
So I just knew being in the online space that if I had a blog, I needed to be on Pinterest. I wanted my blog, even though I'm sharing it on social media, I wanted it to circulate off of social media. And I
Yeah.
knew Pinterest was one of the big ways that I could make that happen. And I also know a lot of
Mhm.
people go to Pinterest to search for things like how to grow
Mhm.
cut flowers. I search
Yeah.
recipes, how to make this. And so
Right.
I do a whole lot of education on all kinds of cut flower topics. I knew Pinterest would be the perfect place. And so I just started searching online. I think I went to TikTok because it's a great, search engine place,
Yeah.
and would put in Pinterest, and a lot of your videos came up on TikTok. Yeah, I
Oh,
found you through
hello.
TikTok.
Yeah.
That's how I found you.
I love it.
And I
Yeah.
just started watching all these different Pinterest videos, and I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And then you were offering your Pinterest challenge, a
Okay,
5-day
cool.
challenge. And I was like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
sign up for that. So I signed up for that. And I happen to know someone that had taken your Pin Potential course. One of my
Oh,
followers
cool.
for years now, Jen, she had taken that. And so I had seen like she was communicating with you. And I was like, wait a second, I know Jen from just Cut Flowers. And oh, okay, we're
Hmm.
making a
Yeah,
connection here. Anyways, I took your Pin Potential challenge, and you give a ton of information in there.
I do.
You,
Yeah.
you, I understand the enormous amount of questions that can come at you. And
Thousands,
I
thousands.
wanted to
Yeah.
be your protector sometimes. Like, okay, she answered
Thank you.
that.
I know. I listen, I do a lot of
Yes,
deep breathing that week.
yes,
I do a lot of
yes,
like Zen like, but
yes,
I'll tell you, sometimes I go to bed at night and like it keeps me up
yeah,
about some of the things.
yes, yes. Yeah,
Well,
I
you know,
understand.
because you get flooded. You get flooded with
Yes,
questions every
I
day,
do.
right?
I
Like,
do.
and people love a generous creator. They
Yeah.
love. They just can smell us coming.
Right. And and that's another reason why I wanted to create my blog, because I
Mm.
have just gotten a lot of the same questions over and over for
Hmm.
years. I kind of know what to write about. And
Yeah.
so I feel like I can write on this topic, and if somebody asks me a question about it, I can be like, oh, here's a great blog
Yeah.
post that I wrote.
Go here.
It goes
I
in more
love it.
detail. And so I knew that part, and I knew, okay, I can translate this to Pinterest somehow. If people are asking
Yeah.
me these questions in my DMs, I'm sure they're going to Pinterest and asking similar questions. And so I wanted to
Yeah.
know how to do that. And
Okay.
so I took your
Love it.
Pin Potential challenge, and
Hmm.
I knew I wanted to dive deeper. So that's why I signed up
Yeah.
for your Pin Potential
Amazing.
course.
And may I ask, so before you dove into the challenge and
Mhm.
then the course, which we'll get into, were you pinning at all or just sort of trying it out?
I would say I was pinning. It wasn't every day, but I was writing every title and every description by myself. And Uh,
Yeah.
that was
Oh my
a
god.
lot of work, and
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to pin. I didn't have a
Yeah.
strategy at that point. I was just
Okay.
kind of pinning. So
Yeah.
yes, I
You had
was.
all the ingredients, you had the
Yeah,
recipe, you have the good content, you know your audience, you know what questions get asked, but like how do we bring that to Pinterest was a
right.
bit of the puzzle.
And I would say another reason that made me go, I need to invest in Pinterest is I think before pin potential, I did pin one pin that had to do with my seed starting schedule cut flower ebook that I sell.
Mhm. Okay,
And
love it.
I pinned it probably a year ago. And all of a sudden, I started getting sales, and I wasn't talking about it a lot on Instagram. And I was like, what is going
Hmm.
on? And I probably hadn't looked at Pinterest for a while. And I got on
Yeah.
Pinterest and saw my impressions had skyrocketed from what it was.
Yeah.
And that pin was taking off. And I was like, I pinned this
Ah.
like a year ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I need to
Yeah.
invest.
Okay, so you had the evidence, like
Yeah.
you had sales, you had numbers going up, but they
Right.
weren't related to other efforts, which
Yes.
normally was what we would see, right? Like, oh, something is going,
Yeah.
starting to pick up, but it was something from a year ago. And that's
Yeah.
the magic of
Yeah.
Pinterest, right? It really is. Well, and I just want to sidestep, like you are a private person, but you share so much of your life, but like you have a family,
Mhm.
you homeschool, you run a farm,
Mhm.
you have animals,
Mhm.
you are a magical content creator. So like you have a lot going on. I don't even know how you do everything that
And
you
my
do.
husband
So,
and I are caregivers to his mom, who lives right next to us. She requires
of course,
24/7.
another
Yes.
angle. So
So there's
you
a
do
lot.
all that with a smile on your face,
Right.
and I feel like you're not a half measures person.
Right.
You do everything and you do it very well, but
Right.
you are human.
Mhm.
So to think about layering in another angle of social media would probably have been a little bit
Yeah.
overwhelming.
It is overwhelming when I think about, but I also knew I have 7 years worth of content. And
Yeah.
I knew you need to put that somewhere that's evergreen. And
Yeah, I love
Instagram
that.
and Facebook are not evergreen. Once you post,
Mhm.
your post is alive for just a little bit. Every now and then,
Yeah.
I do have a post that still circulates from months ago, but that's few
Yeah.
and far in between.
Yeah, a little bit more of a unicorn.
Right. Yes. I wanted my hard work that I have put in to be somewhere
Yeah,
evergreen and point to my
sure.
website so I can help people. And, I have ebooks that I sell and affiliate links. So,
Yeah.
I wanted,
Yeah, which I know you're doubling down on, like, over the next little while. I think too, like, it's sort of like when we start in our online journeys, like, as you go along, you start to notice
have,
patterns, you
yeah,
notice things about your audience or what they're asking you. And then if you wish, you can really, like, decide to grow or stay the same.
uh-huh.
Did you have any hesitations before joining Pin Potential? So you knew someone who was already in the course, which is always a nice thing.
Mhm.
You had taken the challenge, so you kind of saw what I was like. Was there anything that you weren't sure about or hesitant about before you jumped into the course?
Well, I think, of course, Pin Potential is an investment, money
Hmm.
wise. But I knew that I had invested in a couple of flower growing courses before, and I
Mm.
well made my money back, after
Yeah.
investing in those. So I knew that if I took the leap and joined Pin Potential, that I would. And if I
Yeah.
worked really hard at it and studied.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You have to have the capacity
Yes.
and the time. It's funny, I just did an interview with a Pinterest manager who started at zero in my world. And she said, like, we have to put in the work. And you and I had we've had those conversations. And I know you shared a few things on threads, which we can talk about later. What about the course? So you got into the course,
Yeah.
you came to calls, even sometimes when you were in like your
I was
car or you tuned in,
thinking,
ask questions.
yes.
But you showed up and you did the
Yes.
work. Was there anything that stood out to you in the course that you really liked or that really helped you?
Yeah, well, I loved coming to the coaching calls because I find
Yeah.
other people's questions really help me too, because I'm probably have the same questions. And
Yeah.
you have a wide variety of people that take potential. A lot
Yeah,
of
we do.
surface pattern designers, which I'd never heard of until I joined Pin
Welcome to my world. I also remember the first time somebody told me, I was like, you're a what? Wait,
No.
what is
Yeah.
that? What
Uh-huh.
is that?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there was any cut flower growers or gardeners in this group, but
Yeah.
that's another
Not in
reason
this group.
why I wanted
Yeah.
to join Pin Potential because in the cut flower world, in the flower farming world, there's a whole lot of teaching about how to grow cut flowers and stuff. But
Yeah.
business side wise, I don't hear anyone talking about Pinterest. There
Interesting.
are Yes, there are flower farmers and there are bloggers that grow cut flower gardens on Pinterest for sure. But I feel like as a whole, the whole flower farming, cut flower growing community is not on Pinterest. And
Yeah.
so I kind of felt like I was going in Pinterest blindly. I felt like I was in the minority, like, okay,
Yeah, sure.
I didn't have anyone guiding me. Like there was no one I could look to in my world.
Yeah, to even look at
Right.
what they were
Right.
doing.
And I
Yeah.
eventually found a couple that are on there, but
Yeah.
really it's not like recipe bloggers, like everyone's
No.
there. Right.
What I would say, and we were talking about this, how there's some crossover and or adjacent fields to like gardening. So I
Yeah.
have supported gardeners
Right.
before, homesteading.
Yes.
I used to have a client that was a tomato grower. So her entire content creation was in and around tomato growing. So, but that was in the vegetable space, but also only tomatoes. Like that's all we talked about. We had a gardening company to participate in Pin Potential and do wonderful things, but they would have been wide reaching blogs about growing and things related to gardening, everything from container gardening to like growing, fruit trees, but they sold products. So their goal was to bring people to the blog to then buy the products that they offered. I would say that although we've had people who are maybe related or adjacent to, you are the first cut flower gardener student in Pin Potential, which you need like a little badge.
Yeah, Pinterest is such a helpful thing, but I think because Pinterest is not an instant gratification thing like other social media
Yeah.
networks are, people give up too quickly. And I just know in my head, if I stick with this, it will pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, I've given it a good go. Like I started, I would say, seriously pinning in March. And then I did
Yeah.
Pin Potential. Was it May? Is that when you did?
Yeah. May at near like mid May, I think you
May.
jumped in. Yeah.
May, but your tools helped me pin so much better.
Awesome.
And I would say I had a really good amount of pins May through June, but then I got really busy with cut flowers. I didn't have any
Yeah.
scheduled and I didn't pin a lot in July. And I noticed my impressions were going down. I was like, oh no, this is not good. And that's when I realized I really need to be pinning like every day. And so I
Mm.
did. We talked about it and I did. I pinned every day in the month of August, one video
Mhm.
pin a day. And
Incredible, which
uh,
is a lot of
a
video,
lot of
right? But
video,
you had
but
it.
I
You
had
had
it.
it.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
it, and I was able. It took some time to do that, but your AI assistance,
Awesome.
helped me with that tremendously.
So
And
writing your pin titles,
yes,
writing your pin descriptions, right? Like getting those out the door. And didn't you say on Threads, now you can correct me, you got about a month scheduled. So you, especially because you're heading, this is like your, July, August, September, October, this is your like busy time,
right.
but you were able to work ahead
Yes.
in your pins. So now you're taken care of.
Yeah, yeah. So I had all of August scheduled, something every day. And then I knew once I got those videos out, I could kind of breathe for a second and be like, okay, what blog post can I make new pins about? And then focus on
Yeah.
writing new blog posts as well. But after having multiple pins every day in the month of August, my impressions have gone up by 23,000 now. Like I'm at
Yeah.
63,000 now. And then I have
Wonderful.
nearly 1,000 saves.
Yeah, incredible.
And
And those are going to come back to
yeah,
help you,
yeah,
right? Like that's what we're
yeah.
focused on. And have you seen any growth with website traffic, or are
Yeah.
we're going to watch that
Oh,
come in
yeah.
too?
I have someone
Yeah,
that helps me a little bit on the back end of my website, and she's like, "You have this
wonderful.
one blog post that is popping off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make sure you have a few different things, and but this one
connected.
blog post is popping off." And I said, "It's popping off because it's popping off on Pinterest."
Oh, very good. Yeah, I love
Yes,
that.
yes, because I noticed that one particular pin led people to that blog post, and people were outbound clicking.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So website traffic, saves, impressions are climbing
Mhm.
up.
Yep.
Do you feel like you have a system that's repeatable that you can, like, even when you go through these really busy periods, that you'll be able to carry some of those skills forward?
Yeah, I'm in the mindset now of looking up keywords because I know just from being in the cut flower world for so long what things people will be searching for during certain
Hmm.
months. And
Yeah,
I just translate that now to looking at the keywords, which you
love it.
taught us how to do,
Yes.
and the trend.
Yeah.
Like, for example, pumpkins. So it's
Yeah.
September right now and
Of
October.
course.
I know that there will be a whole lot of pumpkin searching. And
Yeah.
so I just learned from your course how to look up the keywords, and I found the keyword phrases that would be trending.
Yeah.
And so
Okay, awesome.
I used my videos, I made a blog post and my photos, and I would take your AI assistant, the title and the description ones, and just tell
Mhm.
them, hey, put in these keywords,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's the magic of them, right?
Yes,
Because it's we still wanna retain your knowledge
yes,
and the what you know deeply about your what your audience is searching for based
yes,
on the content that you're
yes.
creating.
And people are already pinning my pumpkin stuff. So I
Yay,
did
I'm not
this, like,
surprised.
I would say I did this back in August because I
Yeah,
know I'm trying to be a little ahead to be in September and October because that's when pumpkin searching peaks.
sure,
And
goes
so,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. And it
Love that.
even the keyword that I found, it was like no carve pumpkin ideas. That was
Oh,
a pop-in keyword. And so that inspired me to write a blog post on
right,
no carve pumpkin ideas, which I have. I
sure.
glue dried flowers on pumpkins and make
Oh, I love
little
that.
pumpkin arrangements. And so my blog
Yeah,
post is all about that. And people are
yeah.
clicking it and going to my blog.
Oh, I'm so glad. And I know when we were chatting before, we were sort of talking about the different ways. You are an educator, you make money from affiliate income, brand collabs, but then also have your own ebooks that we were sort of talking about that diversifying of income and how Pinterest can support you. So do you feel like moving forward, you have what you need to sort of continue to grow that to match your capacity? I know we're always working with like time limits and
Yeah,
that things like if the garden needs you, the garden needs you. If
right.
there's zinnias that need to be nipped, that's that. And kids, right? Like you have a lot going on, but do you feel like you have a good plan, you have you understand the core ingredients of strategy to keep growing, it will grow with you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you even did a extra little workshop on blogging that was
Mm.
helpful. That's in the pin
Oh, good.
course. Like
Yeah.
you can identify things I think we're asking during our calls. And
Yeah.
you have been like, I think I need to create an extra workshop. And you did for us.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That and
So
the guest experts that come in. I
yes.
really do. Like I try to gauge like
Uh-huh.
and we do have like I'll acknowledge we have such
Yeah.
a diverse, incredible range of people who take the course, but it's sort of like, okay, what comes up again and again about blogging, about email marketing? Because
Yeah.
it starts with Pinterest, and you're very good at acknowledging this. It starts with Pinterest, but it's about so much more than that.
Mhm.
And it's sort of like, we would love to be able to help people. And some people are more beginner.
Mhm.
You're very advanced in your content creation business, right? Like you've been doing this for 7 years.
Right.
You understand what works for you in other places.
Yeah.
And then how do we translate that to growth that's evergreen
Yes.
on Pinterest?
I'm laughing because I
Yeah.
mentioned to you one time that zinnias, like the zinnia effect, anytime I talk about zinnias on social media,
Yeah.
it pops off.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
the same video I posted on Instagram and Facebook has over a
Yeah.
million views. So I was like, well, let me post this to Pinterest. Do you know what's popping off right now?
Oh, I'm
Zinnia
sure. I'm
video
sure.
is popping
Oh, I'm
off.
so
I
glad.
call it the zinnia effect.
Yeah, I like it. I think you need to trademark that. You know what? It's because zinnias are so gosh darn easy to grow and they're beautiful,
Yeah,
right? You have so many skills. You could talk about all these different things
right.
in depth that you could share your unique story and
Mhm.
perspective on. But we do know that Pinterest tends to attract people. And that when people ask me, like, should I be on Pinterest? I'll ask, like, are you creating content that answers a
Uh-huh.
question that's valuable, where people are actively searching for that thing? And if people can search it,
Mhm.
people are on Pinterest looking for it. Your tutorials, obviously, it's like they're so beautiful, right? Like to be able to see a garden. And I think you have a dream worthy life that we're
Mhm.
like, we just want to be transplanted to come to your house and eat lunch with you from the garden. But there's this like thing where people don't always realize what type of content can really resonate with your Pinterest audience. And your business is a shoe-in, right? Like you answer questions, you educate, but you also inspire us
Mhm.
with how easy you make things. Like you, even complicated things, you break it down into like,
Mhm.
okay, this is how you can do it. And I hope what we continue to see for you and your business is that every year it's going to be like a cycle. So every March you'll have certain topics that take
Mhm.
off, every April, every May,
Mhm.
and it will just keep growing and circulating
Mhm.
for you,
Yeah.
which is really, really exciting,
Yeah,
right?
and I can definitely see that happening, with my business and Pinterest, just by the
Yeah.
results that I'm already getting so
Amazing.
far.
Well, I can't wait. Like I'm gonna have to check in with you in 6 months. I'd love to see
Yeah.
if you can, continue to bring people to your blog and your website and your ebooks. If somebody's sort of on the fence or not sure about joining Pin Potential, is there anything that you could share with them? Any last thoughts that you would like them to know that maybe would help them make that decision?
I mean, I especially love your AI assistants. And
Hmm.
when I say that I love them, me as a cut flower grower, I do almost everything here. I'm the one planting
Yeah.
the seeds, I'm watering, I'm harvesting, I'm designing, I'm writing the blog post. Your AI assistants with the pins, titles, and the description,
Yeah.
it feels like a secretary helping me do something.
Yeah.
Helping me do
Sure.
something because your expertise is embedded in those.
Yeah.
It's much different than Chat GPT. You have embedded your years
Hmm.
worth of Pinterest knowledge and helping other businesses grow into those assistants. And for all of August, like I mentioned, that I posted all those pins, every one of them I used your title and description. And
Hmm.
I'm telling you, my numbers are skyrocketing. So
Awesome.
Pinterest is picking
Well,
them up.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And sometimes it is just about those tweaks. And I'll say, like, we need shortcuts.
yeah,
It's like nice to say, like, well, I'm going to dedicate like 20 hours a month. We don't got 20 hours. And I
right.
think for someone like you, like you have so much content, video, blog,
Yeah,
ebooks, affiliate links that you needed a system that was like, could
yeah.
give you shortcuts without compromising
Right,
ranking
right.
and showing up in search, right? We just want to connect the right people to
Yeah,
the amazing things that you're
yeah.
doing.
So,
Incredible.
yeah, and you have a board description writer. Sometimes my
Mm.
brain just gets tired. Like I do so much
Yeah.
content creation and so much
Yeah.
beautiful work here on our farm that,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, if she has the expertise on how to write a title and
Yeah.
description, let me just use her AI.
Yeah.
And I do.
That's called decision fatigue, Kara. You
Yeah,
spend
yeah,
all day
yeah,
making decisions. And
yeah,
I just feel like with marketing, if we can automate it and save
yeah,
time, my assistants that are embedded in the course, they're embedded in the course. So when you buy the course, you get access for as long as it exists, like lifetime access. So you can, log in, use that AI to shortcut, even if it's the middle of the night or if it's
yeah.
early in the morning. Like, I don't need to be there. You don't have to come to a call. And then, of course, the idea is that with the coaching that's included,
Mhm.
like you did, you come, you can ask questions at wherever you feel stuck.
Yeah.
But I really do think we're in this like time where we got enough going on. And I'd rather you have more time to yourself for your walk, getting outside and just doing nothing with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That's what James was saying. We were talking. So, James is my husband and partner who helped me develop those AI assistants using his program called Red Genius. He said, you know what the amazing thing about AI assistants that are embedded in a course or program is that it buys back our time,
Yeah.
which is really like, sure, like
Mhm.
I'll train you how to write those pin titles and you can do it manually
Mhm.
and check in with me. But I also want to empower you that you can do this on your own for years to come. I want you to be the next person that in a year you write me an email and be like, hey, let me share this with you. Like, to me as an educator, that's my success. Much like you probably, if someone's starting out with you and then a year later they're like sending you pictures in your DMs of their garden,
Hours. And
like, and that's what happens when you like love sharing knowledge, love sharing. It's like seed sharing, right? I
yeah,
feel like I shared seeds with you to feel empowered
help me grow.
to do, yeah, to help you grow. And I think too, with the extra trainings and classes that we host, it's like the bigger picture.
Yeah, and Pin Potential is more than just Pinterest. I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about email marketing in there and blogging, and you have a whole affiliate link program in there
Yes.
too. Because I was wondering about that, like, how do I do affiliate links on Pinterest? I don't want to get banned. I hear
No,
all
of
these
course.
things.
Yeah. Especially if you spend time on TikTok, there's a lot
Yeah,
of negativity. Well, there's a lot of misinformation,
misinformation.
unfortunately.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
Yes, but I'm here for the long run to grow cut flowers, and so I thought I want a place that's going to
Wow.
be evergreen with me. And so Pinterest
I
helped
am
me, and your course
so
helped me with that too.
Well, I'm so grateful that you found your way to me and that I'm getting to share your story. Kara, if people want to read your blog or follow you on Instagram or any of your social media, how can they find you?
Yeah, well, my website is bloomingjoyflowerco.com, and that is where
Wonderful.
I have my ebooks and I have my blogs there that I love to share about cut flower growing. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, and Threads, all at Blooming Joy Flower.
Incredible. And I'll share that all underneath the video and in the blog post because, of course, I'm going to turn this into a blog post too. So if people want to follow Kara's incredible content, I definitely recommend. Even if people are just like looky-loos and not big gardeners or into growing flowers, I promise you will start watching all the things that she gets up to. Kara, thank you for sharing your time with me and being so generous. Like I said, like as an educator, I just loved having you in my world, and I'm so glad that the Pin Potential system was really successful for you and you were able to learn lots and really let's get your content to more people. Thank you again.
Thank you, Megan.